Yo, what's happening, guys? How are you doing? This is Rob of Ro2R Review. Welcome back to the channel. It is almost E3. We are days away, and so I wanted to make one last-minute wish list for Nintendo's E3 Direct. So it is Friday, June 7th, the day that I'm recording this video right now, which means in literally 4 days, we will be watching Nintendo's E3 Direct. Now, I have already made a few lists about games that I'm really excited to see show up at E3 across the board, as well as some predictions for Nintendo, because they are always the most exciting, and we are always so curious as to what's going to show up during their Direct. And this year is a big year. It's the third E3 for the Nintendo Switch. We know of some really big high-profile games that are still set to release in 2019. We know Pokemon is coming, Luigi's Mansion 3, Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, heck, even games like Daemon X Machina. And I've still yet to hear about Bayonetta 3. What about Astral Chain? I mean, so much good stuff, but of course, the surprises are what get us the most excited, and I am expecting and hoping for quite a few. So with only a few days left, I thought it would be fun to discuss some last-minute wish list predictions and hopes and dreams that I would like to see show up at E3's Nintendo Direct. So I know I've already discussed surprises and stuff. Please remember, this is not like behind-the-scenes information or leaks I'm putting out, just a wish list of my own personal things that I would like to see show up. Stuff that I honestly kind of wish that I already did bring up in some videos, but for whatever reason, they eluded me at the time that I discussed my previous lists and predictions and stuff for E3 and for the Nintendo Direct. And so these ones popped in my head over the past week or two, and so I wanted to discuss them. Now, the first game that I want to discuss hopefully showing up is actually the only game on this list that truly doesn't have to show up at the Nintendo Direct, or even for the Nintendo Switch, even though I suspect it would be released on the Nintendo Switch, and that is Rayman. I want the return of the Rayman franchise, and Rayman is a character so badly. Again, this doesn't have to show up at the Direct, it doesn't have to be exclusive to the Switch or anything. This could show up at any conference, it could be even at Ubisoft's, and it could be something where it's multi-platform or whatever the case. But this is just a series that I love, man, and I'm somebody who also goes back to the original Rayman on the PlayStation, the Saturn, the Atari Jaguar, which is the version I still even own, and that's one of my all-time favorite games and favorite platformers. It was so incredible and beautiful for its time. I mean, revolutionary. Me and my friends couldn't stop playing it or talking about that game. We couldn't believe how good it looked. And with the last two versions, Origins and Legends, I mean, they've taken it to the next level. I'm a huge fan of the current gameplay and what they've done with the Origins and Legends kind of version. I thought the Wii U version was so incredible because of the touchscreen, and so I would certainly welcome a new game that is using that style, but I also wouldn't even shy away from them going back to something similar to the original style, or even a brand new style that isn't identical to either of the existing ones. Either way, I just love Rayman. I love the world. I love the visuals. I love the humor and the gameplay. It's great 2D action gameplay. And so with any luck, we see Rayman show up. Now, the next game is something that I think we should all be looking for and hoping for with every E3. And it's a brand new IP. Yes, a new game, not a sequel, not a remaster, not a spiritual successor. I'm talking about something that is completely original and brand new from Nintendo, which we don't see very often. Now, of course, you're watching footage here of ARMS because that is the most recent, like, high-profile first-party Nintendo IP in a very long time. And it was a solid entry. I'm not the biggest fan of ARMS, I'll completely admit. I really don't love the game, but I do like it, and I do think that it was well executed for what it was trying to do. I mean, I love the style, I love the visuals, and the fighting works well. Again, that's part of the reason I don't love it, is I don't think it's perfect, but it does certainly work. And so as much as an ARMS 2 or a Splatoon 3 even would be really cool and exciting to see, and I think we would all welcome those things, I think it'd be better to see something brand new, you know, and I think of a couple of things. I think of Astral Chain, which is the new game coming from Platinum Studios, which is exclusive to the Switch. That itself is a brand new IP. When I think about something more internally from Nintendo, I think about Retro Studios. I think about Monolith Soft. I've discussed both of these companies in my past few E3 kind of hype videos. And I think it would be great to see a brand new IP from either one of these guys. It would be exciting if Retro was redoing another Nintendo franchise. It would be exciting if Monolith is doing another Xenoblade game. Like, that would be cool. Or even something I really want to see, Baten Kaitos 3. You know, sure, sequels to games that they've already made in the past would be great, but what if one of those two companies was making something brand new? Or what if any other company out there, like a Mercury Steam, for example, which worked on Metroid: Samus Returns, what if they had them working on a completely different brand new IP for the Nintendo Switch? I mean, when Nintendo really puts forth their best effort with a new IP that they truly care about, something that you can tell they want to add to their current staple of great first-party IPs, they do an amazing job. I mean, Splatoon really surprised everyone, you know? If you guys go back to 2014 when it was first shown off, it was like, wow, this came out of nowhere and it's really weird, but it does look kind of cool. And then the following year when it came out, it just took the world by storm. Even though it had a little bit of a controversy, it turned out to be an incredible game, and now we've had an incredible sequel, and now they've shown up in Smash Brothers. And so they're literally part of the Nintendo pantheon, those games and those characters. And so, you know, Pikmin, one of my favorite new IPs during the 6th gen, the Xenoblade games, there's just so many that Nintendo has done a great job with, and I just think that it's time for a new IP, and what I would hope is that it's something not multiplayer focused like Splatoon and ARMS were. I mean, I really like those two franchises, but I miss when Nintendo focused on things like a Zelda, like a Metroid, heck, like a Pikmin. I mean, I just brought Pikmin up, and if you think about it, those games, even though they've got like a multiplayer element, their true heart and soul is focused on a single player adventure through the world, controlling your Pikmin to do different things, and it's great for that. So I would love a new huge single-player focused adventure kind of title from Nintendo. Even if it's got a multiplayer component, I mean, that's fine. But I want something that feels like a real game that sits alongside Mario, Metroid, and Zelda. That's just really what I would like to see from Nintendo. So fingers crossed we see that at E3. My next wishlist title to show up at the Nintendo Direct for the Nintendo Switch is Call of Duty. And it's interesting because Call of Duty on the Switch has had a little bit of traction in the rumor department this past week. Some people feel like some of the code somewhere for some game or whatever seems to show that one of these games might be coming to the Switch. Maybe it's the new Modern Warfare reboot game. Maybe it was some older game. I don't even know. You know, those kinds of leaks that have rumors and stuff that have happened in the past about data mining code in video games to find release platforms. Yeah, that hasn't really panned out very many times ever. I mean, I'm sure once or twice, maybe Call of Duty Ghosts, but in general, that's just never happened. And so I don't really know that I put much stock in that yet, but it is exciting to think about. And I love Call of Duty, you guys, and I've loved Call of Duty on Nintendo platforms. I played Modern Warfare 3 on the Wii, and I played Call of Duty Ghosts and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 on the Wii U, and I loved all of those games. I mean, I like playing Call of Duty on my Nintendo consoles, and it's time for it to come back, man. I thought for sure, going into 2018, I thought for sure we were going to see that year's Call of Duty show up on the Switch, and I was very shocked and disappointed when I was wrong, and Black Ops 4 did not come to the Switch. That was a huge disappointment, and a big missed opportunity by Activision, by the way. This year, maybe it's the year where Activision realizes it's time. We've got to make a version of Call of Duty that can work on the hugely successful and popular Nintendo Switch. I want to see it come back. I think it would do very well. It would be great for Nintendo as a brand. It would be very great for Call of Duty because they're going to sell more copies. And us Switch gamers who would like Call of Duty portably would get that. And that, to me, is very exciting. And so it's not a super high likelihood of showing up at E3, but it is on my list, so I hope to see it. Now, another third-party franchise that I desperately want on the Switch, and I probably want this more than I even want Call of Duty, is Fallout. And now I know Todd Howard and Bethesda have said, you know, we love the Switch, we're making plenty of games for the Switch, we've been supporting the Switch, and that's been fantastic. They've done an amazing job. But they did also state last year that there's currently no plans to bring any kind of Fallout experience to the Nintendo Switch. That to me is heartbreaking, and I think, just like with Call of Duty, I think that's a huge missed opportunity. Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 coming to the Switch would be huge. I think it would do gangbusters. I firmly believe it's possible to make those games work on the Switch, so I don't want to hear any of this talk about, the Switch can't handle it. I think the Switch can handle it. The Switch is an amazingly versatile machine, and they're able to make some great things happen on that console. If they could get Doom with its visuals on the Switch, they could get a less visually impressive but larger world Fallout game on the Switch. I just personally believe it. I mean, they already did Skyrim, and Fallout 3 at least was in the same sort of generation of Skyrim. So they could do something, man. Maybe a Fallout 3 and a New Vegas package. I don't know. But I'm a huge sucker for Fallout, you guys have heard me say. And I think that it just would work so well on the Switch. I can't believe how much I enjoy playing Skyrim on my Switch and how much I love taking that thing off my dock and playing Skyrim, just walking around my house or whatever, just on my Switch. Like, it's so much fun. I do it often, still to this day. And I think I would do the same thing with Fallout. I would happily restart Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, New Vegas, whatever, on the Switch. The only one I don't want is Fallout 76. so Bethesda, Todd Howard, you guys don't have to bring 76 over to the Switch, but it would be great to see Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, so I would hope to see it. And the last wishlist game that I would like to see show up at the Nintendo E3 Direct next week is the only remaster, and it's not the Metroid Prime trilogy, as you guys know. I'm talking about the Wonderful 101. And I know people have discussed that Nintendo doesn't talk about remasters or ports or whatever at E3, and I know that that's mostly true, but I don't really care. I think anything is possible in this day and age, and I honestly just want this so badly that I had to bring it up. And obviously, a sequel would be the best option here. I think we would all prefer a sequel to Wonderful 101 more than a port or a remaster, but I'm just going to keep it simple here and keep it realistic because I think Platinum is very busy with both Bayonetta and Astral Chain to work on a Wonderful 101 Part 2 or whatever. So I say just remaster the Wii U version of the Wonderful 101, add some cool new features and bells and whistles to it, make the visuals a little bit tighter, even though it looked great on the Wii U, and just bring us that gem. God, I love that game, and that is a game that I would play portably more often than not because personally to me, the touchscreen controls of creating the shapes in your designs with your team, to me worked way better than using the damn analog stick. And I'm sure that if they brought the Wonderful 101 over, they would incorporate touchscreen gameplay into portable mode. And so that's probably how I would play it, and it would just be so much fun. And not enough people played the Wonderful 101. It does have a cult following of a lot of people who recognize it was a great and underrated gem on the Wii U, and I think that that's wonderful. That warms my heart. But honestly, more people need to experience it and play it. It is a weird game. I mean, I will fully admit it's a weird freaking game, and it won't be for everybody. But there is so much personality and humor and just great character to that game, and the gameplay is fun, and the characters are so great. I love them all so much. And it's one of the best endings I've ever played to a video game ever in my entire life. I jumped off of my couch screaming with joy, like mashing buttons as it happened. It was so much fun. So that's just a game I think deserves to come to the Nintendo Switch. I think people would embrace it warmly. And so it's a game I desperately want to see show up at their E3 Direct next week. So yeah, there you go. Those are my 5 last-minute wishlist titles for the E3 Direct next week that I wanted to get in just in this last couple of days before E3 officially kicks off and before Nintendo has their E3 Direct. Some pretty lofty dreams here, I know. I don't know that we're going to see Wonderful 101 or Call of Duty, for example. But anything is possible. I think Rayman has the best chance at showing up at E3 somehow this year, personally. So I really just want to see that. That might be the one that I want the most, simply because I believe in it the most. But either way, across the board, we got to see some great new stuff. I would love to see a new IP from Nintendo. I mean, it's just so important to have original ideas in gaming nowadays. So either way, this is what I think, man. I'm going to have at least one more Nintendo last-minute video before E3 next week as well. Maybe on Sunday or Monday, so stay tuned for that. But for now, this is it. Those are my 5 wishlist games. What do you guys think of my list and the 5 games that I chose? And what are some last-minute wishlist titles you would like to see show up as a surprise at Nintendo's Direct next week? That is all. This video is a wrap. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Ro2R Review, and I'll see you next time on another video.